Hi, everybody. This is the Soul Center Experience Live, but we're having some technical difficulties. So I'm going to play my intro, and then we're going to bring on the guest as soon as she's able to pop on. We're an hour early tonight because we're doing a West Coast guest. So let me do my intro, and we'll go from there. I'm really excited to talk about breath framework and reclaim your power tonight. Bear with me.
Breath framework. B, begin where you are. R, reclaim your power. E, excavate your core values. A, allow, not control. T, through, not around. And H, healing. The breath framework, a way of life.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Soul Center Experience Live. We have an amazing guest tonight. Sorry about the technical difficulties, and sorry that you didn't know that we were an hour early tonight, but you can watch on replay. All is right in the world. We have one of my favorite people. We're talking about breath framework. We're talking about our Reclaim Your Power tonight, but I will always consider her to be my coach. So coaches need coaches, everybody. Hi, Steve. Great to see you. Nice, Steve. You always make amazing comments and you're so kind. So thank you. I thank you. I'm going to bring Maura on, but LinkedIn user Jamie from Ontario. Great to see you. Oh my gosh, Ian. Hi. Oh, I'm so excited. We got a new StreamYard link, Maura, and we fixed this. Judy. Hi, beautiful. I'm going to bring Maura Barclay in now. Hi. This is the wonderful and the beautiful Maura, everybody. Welcome to meeting my coach who helped to make me who I am. And now she is here with me. Hi, George. Everybody's popping in. Hello from Indiana. You know what? This could be a better time for my show because 7:30 is not as quick for people to jump on. Maybe 6:30 Eastern is a good time. You're the best.
You're welcome.
Thank you for, as usual, leading the way, guiding me, as usual. So just to give you a little background. Hi, Todd. Great to see you. To give you a little bit of background, how do I explain this? I hadn't found my way quite yet. And Maura found me and she set up an appointment to talk to me. And I didn't know what it was even about. And by the time we finished I think it was an hour phone call, maybe 45 minutes, I had signed up to do coaching with her. I did not get on the phone to start a coaching program. None of that. I had no idea. I was almost I didn't know what I was doing. And I was getting different credit cards to pay for it so that I could make it work. And not only did I make the money back, but I gained an amazing friend and person in my life who has taught me so much about how to coach, how to be a coach, how to coach people, and how to be as a professional in this coaching world. And I am forever indebted to you, my love. So I'm happy to have you here. I wanted you to tell people who you are and what you have going on because there's been a lot of changes lately.
There have indeed.
Give you the floor, my friend.
Well, thank you. First of all, there are these times when you get lightning in a bottle, and that's when you meet someone who is open and ready for the level of help that you've always wanted to give. And that was you.
Thank you.
So it was just I feel like it was a love affair from the very beginning. Well, we also share a lot of culture. So yes. We had kind of a shorthand, we know all of the fun backgrounds of East Coast Jews. This is the thing. We could just skip to the next chapter with each other.
It was when you have that, just so everybody knows that's listening or watching. Hi, Chad. It's when you have that Jewish connection and you can talk the talk, saying words that other people, it's I'm sure other cultures feel this way. I'm quite sure. Yeah. It's a whole other ball game. So we skipped right to that. So I was you have that, I have that. Okay. All right. We're good.
Yeah. Mishpacha. We get it. Mishpacha. We understand the neuroses. We understand all of the challenges and opportunities, instantly.
With the parents and the family and everything.
And the whole thing. Yes.
The whole thing, all the things.
And I'm sure we're related if we go back far enough. So what's funny is that when we got on the phone, Annie, I thought I was being interviewed for your podcast. I thought you were going to ask me if I wanted to be on your podcast. My VA set that up.
Oh.
My VA set it up because you had a podcast.
And you turned that right into me being enrolled. So before I got off the phone, I was enrolled and paid for your program. That's how good she is, everybody.
Hold on. Wait a minute. It's so funny because that doesn't happen with people who aren't ready and need it. Like I don't do sales calls. It wasn't a sales call.
No, it wasn't salesy. And I've been tried to be sold before. It wasn't salesy.
I can't be sold and I can't sell. It was very clear. I think it was when I asked you how much, I'm like, wait a minute, hold on a second. How much are you charging per month? And then you told me, and I'm like, oh no.
You're like, this bitch needs to be coached. Yeah. So I was
right now.
Transitioning into, and Mike and I were creating Annie Lieb LLC, right? We were really, this is the beginning of the year. So we were really starting to, and like with you, I'll never forget this for as long as I live. With you, I fully leaned into going to visit my dad, talking to him and getting his support, not approval, but support. And I leaned into making this something big. And then everything started to align. And that was right with me and you working together. So I mean,
I would relanguage that to say leaning into allowing myself to be as big as I'm able to be.
Okay.
And it's, can I curse on your show?
Of course.
It's shit like that you were missing.
Yes, you're right. And she has, I haven't seen you in a little while. I think I need to go back to my languaging.
You always need to go back to languaging because those little, that's your subconscious trying not to be in your authority. Sorry, I'm not coaching you in front of your people, but
no, you can't. Please,
sorry. Please.
That's okay.
It's been a while.
It's been a bit, Mar. It's been a bit.
So we haven't had a chance to connect. So yeah, that you, Marianne Williamson said it best, and of course I will paraphrase and get right to the thing that she said that is most applicable here. You, with most people, are terrified of your light. You're terrified of the amount of power you have, and you're terrified about your ability to influence others because you don't want to be wrong. You don't want to make a mistake. And it's people like you who need to be in the position of leadership and authority because you are concerned about your impact versus people who just have the disease of greed and are unconscious and are just kind of leaving bodies in their wake, right?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, though. Right. So I was really excited to find someone like you who was concerned. It's like when when standing in your authority and allowing yourself to be in your power, a lot of my clients often say, I'm afraid that I'm a narcissist. I said, well, there's your proof, because a narcissist is never afraid that they're a narcissist. I'm worried I'm a narcissist. They're never going to say that.
Right. It's true. No, but this is why this is your letter. This is why Reclaiming Your Power, I wanted you for this and Mike wanted you for this, because you helped me to do just that. That's my favorite part about working with you, is that you helped me step into my power and reclaim that. And I had lost that for a while due to many circumstances. And I fully reclaimed that shit with you.
Yeah. So. Well, you need to have someone who has walked the road.
Yes.
So you need to have someone who has walked through the valley of the shadow of death and has come out the other side and who understands that journey. And I think the mistake that people make, either trying to coach people or hiring coaches, is they'll hire a website or they'll hire, some glamoury stuff, and they're not really looking at the journey of the coach.
Right.
And the way I think of that, or the way I put it together in my head, is whatever road I have walked and I have left breadcrumbs, that is a road that I can help you walk down really effortlessly because I've done it. So, and I'm not for everybody.
Right.
Not for everybody. I'm only for, and this is what you helped show me. And my clientele, actually my job in my life has actually completely changed since we worked together. You were a catalyst for me, Miss Annie Lieb, you and Michael both, in the sense that I'm like, I only want to work with people who are so ready, like Annie, because when I gave you 3 months, we partnered with each other for 3 months. Mm-hmm. Look what you did with that time.
Yeah, that was true. You were like, wait, so you'd get on the phone, you'd be on the Zoom with Maura and she would go, so like, tell me about your wins. And I'm like, okay, so then I did this, and I got this, and I got this client, and she's like, whoa, slow down. And so you would always say to me, like, how did you do all this so quickly? And I'm like, you lit my fire. You did. So it was a good partnership.
It was a very good partnership. And you showed me what like optimal partnerships look like for the kind of coaching that I love to do. So I was like, oh, now I'm going to be, I mean, I was always choosy because I say no to people. Having money does not mean that you can hire me, right? You have to be ready. And I only want to work with people who are these just kick-ass, fierce, high achievers who need, who are inside the jar and need someone who can see the label and then have the power to take them out of it. And very lucky, not lucky. I've gone through a lot, you know, I've done a lot of shit in my life.
Yeah. Oh, she's a little frozen. You're frozen. Are we frozen?
I see you.
Okay.
See you.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
So, so watching you, and I'm like, I want every single client to be able to take what I'm offering them and run with it. You know, there's a certain level of ferocity, high achievement, of standards of conduct and work that I want to be associated with. And you help show me that. So thank you.
Thank you.
And oh my God, it was just, like, when I see people, I'm like, that's going to be the most amazing testimonial. She's going to be, now I just see people in terms of testimonials. And I'm like, oh my God, the work we're about to do together is about to blow everybody's mind.
You did say that. You always called it.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like Babe Ruth sometimes. I'm like, oh, I got the bat right here. I'm like, that's where it's going.
And it did, Maura. It opened up, the floodgates opened, and now it has become and is becoming more and more what I want and what I envision and what I see. And I've stepped more into who I am. And it's been a beautiful thing. Doesn't mean every day's easy, but you know.
Oh no. It's not supposed to be. Right. It's not supposed to be. Like every day is designed by us in previous decisions to create the friction to give us more traction. That's how I like to look at it. Without friction, you got no traction.
You said everything's changed. So what has changed? So
the last client I had, I upped my price since we talked. I'm much more expensive than I was. Because I'm delivering different results now, and I'm only working. I'm pretty much only working through referrals, and kind of like by accident. I stopped marketing myself as a coach.
Okay.
Because through my ops manager, I'm rebranding, and it's going to launch probably in December or January, and I'm taking all this. What do I say? The energy that allowed me to help you, and I'm turning it to businesses to help them build resilient cultures that are respectful, equitable, and increase performance and profits. Because that's what basically we were doing with you on the micro level. I'm like, I want to take this to the macro.
Yes,
so
that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm like, I love helping individuals, and I still am going to have a practice. I'm allowing 3 people in my practice at a time because it's very intensive work.
It is.
And not a lot of people, I mean, you have to be at like I said, it's more expensive than it was, but the results are next level when you're ready. So I started to work in culture, and I hired an agency now I'm going from Soulful Leader to more Barclay brand, just leveraging all the things that I've seen, working as a firefighter, working as a U.S. Military contractor, working these male-dominated fields, and being able to see the interplay between culture. There's male culture, there's female culture, but there's also white, male, Arab, or white, female, Black men and women, Asian, like all of it, just being able to see it play out. And also working in film and television was a really great little microcosm of that, because film sets are an entire little city. And each department has its own culture, and seeing how they play together and how to create more continuity. As a unit production manager, that was my job, was to manage all the units together. So there was a cohesion and there was a progress, like, because they just spoke different language. I'll just put it that way. So no sooner did I decide that I'm like, I really want to turn B2B and start with small and medium-sized businesses to help them scale, create their purpose, their vision, their mission statements, their core values that they can then take and scale up. Before they even have HR, they need to have these things. And create the culture from the beginning so that as they bring people in, all the expectations have been managed. It's like done.
I get it.
Okay. So I just want to increase. I want to help them optimize immediately, and it can be done through culture. And I had that thought. I hired an expensive agency. I know what it's like now to shell out this kind of money. I know what it's like. You and I both know. It's like what we would never ask our clients to do something we
haven't done. Yep.
That's exactly. Right. That's right. So I just spent more than I ever have. And I know the feeling now of relief when you meet the right people.
Yes.
Like, I'm so glad to find you. Here's all the money. Here's just take it.
Just
take
do
all
it and like help me and show me.
Oh my God. Yes. Yes. That love was so great. So they're putting it together for me. And my ops manager, who I hired to help, because I'm building some products that are on demand for businesses who can't afford to have me come and work with them. They can just get this on-demand suite as a no-touch suite for their organizations. And in that effort, he said, I want you to talk to this new tech startup called Numi. And I'm like, all right, some guy from New Rhode Island, and they bring me in, and they're like, yeah, we want to do this wellness platform, and you have a wellness and fitness background. And I was like, yeah, this seems like a pretty good fit. Yeah. And I had 5 minutes, and my personality, it's like you, but I had 5 minutes. I managed to trigger half of the board. And my guy told me this. I'm like, how the fuck did I do that? I didn't even say anything.
5 minutes.
How did I say 5 minutes?
You just showed up as you. That's what you did.
Yeah. So half the board was like, holy crap, I love her. The other half was like, holy crap, what the hell?
What is that? Yeah. What am I going to do with that? Yeah.
What am I going to do with all that?
Yep.
And I'm like, just give me another meeting. Just give me another meeting. Let's see what happens. So I got another meeting with the COO, and we had a conversation, and he was like, I kind of see you coming in as a director, like underneath the chief of wellness to do the mindset piece. And I tell you, Annie, I've never had this come out of my mouth before. And this is why I wanted to talk about reclaiming power. I've been a director before, and I had a very unsatisfying experience as a director, because it did not, the amount of autonomy and innovation that I bring to the table, it didn't allow me to function in the role they put me in. It didn't work. And exactly at the director level. And I said, listen, in order for me to bring the value that I have the potential to bring to this organization, I have to be on the board. And these words came out of my mouth. The director position is too small for me.
You said your truth.
I couldn't believe that came out of my mouth. I'm like, well, this is over.
Yeah. And that's my truth. See you later.
That's right. Mic drop. Have fun. Like, have fun building a storming a castle. Like, I'm out. Like, I just ruined everything. But
what did he say?
It was brought to a vote. I was unanimously voted onto the board as their chief mindset and culture officer. I was given equity in the business. And the COO himself complimented me and said he was very impressed how I stuck to my guns and advocated for myself in that moment.
There you go. You were going to think too small by doing that. Not that anything is wrong. Hi, Dan. Yeah. Not that anything is wrong with, hi, Ashim, with a director position. It's just not where you are. Hi, Pat. You're not late. Welcome. It's not where you are. And you knew it. And you stood in your truth.
That's right. That's right. I stood in that. And it was funny because I kind of was possessed a little bit. I was like, there was something that was just bigger than me happening. And this is my first chief role. But when I look at what they needed, I get to be one of the few people who I am the mindset pillar of the app. It's a holistic wellness app. And the pillars are mindset, nutrition, and fitness. And
I get to your whole thing,
which is my whole thing, my previous life. Right. When I wasn't being a firefighter, a military contractor, a speaker, or working on film and television, just one of the many freaking things I've done. I got to bring to bear my 12 years in the fitness industry at the boutique level, like at the Equinox level. Mm-hmm. And that was the thing they didn't have. They were missing that piece. And I got to bring all my coaching because it's all mindset. So it's like all the stuff that we did together. I get to own that whole pillar. And then I get to create culture for the entire organization because I am the chief culture officer. So I am the one
dream,
who gets to
dream job.
It is. It is my dream job. It's like I get to help build the purpose.
Thank you, Dan.
The vision. She is good. Got good taste, Dan. I can even see that, right? And then I get to help build the core values. So this is something that now helps me help other companies because I'm doing it for them.
So like me, you set out to do what you wanted. You put you put it in your vision and you went and got it.
I put my flag in the ground, and it's
you were like, this is what I want.
Yeah. And it's the courage. It's the courage to own that flag and recognize I might have to put a different flag in, but I'm going to try this right now. It's all a big experiment.
Yeah.
It's all a big experiment. And
amazing.
I loved how you were like a gazelle. You devoured your expansion. It was incredible.
It was just time, and anybody that's listening that's wondering if it's time, like it just hits and hi, Tom, great to see you. It overwhelmed me with like, I was robotic in doing it. I just was doing it. And then your tips and everything that you would tell me, and like our sessions were we went through some stuff together. I mean, some really deep stuff. And, it just put me in this place of empowerment. I mean, it's just so interesting that, of course, you're here to talk about reclaiming your power, because that's what you helped me so much to do and what you help people to do. And now you're truly helping businesses to do that, if you think about it.
Yeah. Well, and the idea is to help them empower their employees.
Right.
Because like when you have a culture of treating your employees like customers, you're going to have a lot easier go of it. But it's going to take a culture shift, right? Because it's, millennials, the one thing I absolutely love about millennials is they are showing us the way to new ideas of how to do things. And any organization that's a holdout is going to have a really hard time, because the big Fortune 500 or Fortune 100 that figures out how to, and I believe I have a little bit, I believe I have a little insight into this.
Okay.
When they figure out how to dial adjust their culture to include in millennials instead of trying to beat them into grit.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't, ask any teenager how that goes.
Yeah.
Not so much.
Right.
Right. So I think there's going to be a big shift. I think a huge shift is coming. And, the company with the most willingness to adapt, the highest degree of willingness to adapt, is going to absolutely crush the market in their category. I have no doubt.
What do you think about this? We were talking about this on my leadership team call today, about this great resignation. Are you familiar with that whole term? What are your thoughts on that?
I think that, so the majority of them are women. I don't know if you knew that. I don't have the statistic, but the majority of people who have fled that have fled are like, they're women. And the difference, it's funny because there is a little bit of a gender gap here, as far as it's not equitable, like, because it is a more, and I want to be very clear when I say things like the socially dominant group, which is heterosexual white men. I want to be really clear. I'm not criminalizing them for being that. And I'm not by any means saying like that's a bad thing. I want to speak in terms of like groups and statistics. So that I want to be clear about that.
Okay.
Because one of the things that I'm very passionate about is engaging homogenized leadership groups in this discussion to help them integrate and be more powerful and be more effective in the jobs that they're doing. So in order for me to represent that, I want to be really clear that I want to engage heterosexual white men, middle-aged men in this discussion. So I want to be clear about that.
Okay.
If you consider that the majority of work is being dictated by, or the way the work is being disseminated, all of the policy is predominantly coming from the hallowed halls of leadership, which is predominantly white male led. They have a tendency not to recognize other leadership styles because they have not been taught about that, frankly. not enough, where female leadership and Black women, white women, Black men, white and Black women, white women, Asian Americans, any other culture, it looks different. There's this idea that all leadership is supposed to look like. This is a very general thing. A lot of people are already moved past this. The lowest common denominator idea is this is what leadership looks like. Anything outside of that is not effective leadership.
Is wrong.
Exactly. So leadership and gender has been conflated. And we are slowly teasing this out. Now, when there is an economic imperative, it will move much more quickly. And we are getting there. So while men feel more comfortable and will kind of deal with whatever, women in the workplace, my experience has been, if you just cannot get it right, if you continue to either diminish or overlook or through very natural bias, it's like a bad relationship. They're like, I'm out of here. You've made yourself dispensable. You don't make yourself dispensable to women and Black women, white women, Black men, white men. Don't make yourself dispensable to people. They will leave you. The dynamic is changing in as much as we all want a paycheck. Those of us who are totally stoked to work for organizations, you need them. You cannot run a business without people to do the work you don't want to do at the highest levels of leadership. Am I missing the relationship? Am I missing something here?
Right. Where, like, fill the gap. Right. Right.
So, yeah. So this isn't even like an equal pay thing. That's not what this is about. This is about women getting fed up, and they will freaking leave if you make yourself dispensable. And that's what has happened. And women are like, I'm not doing this. So there's going to be a need to woo diverse people, not just white women, all people, woo them back into the organization and give them a reason to stay. And that's going to require a little bit more equity.
And where do you think coaching and development plays a role with that? Because I was reading all these statistics today about how important it is for millennials that being trained and coached, especially external coaches, is super important.
Millennials are all about two things, as I understand it. And if you are a millennial, take me to task if this is wrong. I welcome you. Please don't tell this 52-year-old lady born in the 60s what millennials are all about. I want to learn. As far as I see from my lens, millennials care about two things more than anything at work: being trained. They want the professional development and social impact. This is an area that I want to bring to bear with the companies that I work with. Social impact is huge. And if corporations are in fact people, are they doing good in the world?
Right.
Who's taking these people to church? Who's the soul? What are they doing? Right?
Yes. Who are they at their soul? As you know, the soul center. I'm
That's
with
right.
you, soulful
That's
leader.
right.
Yes. It's all about the soul of the people. And
it is.
we have to start to move toward that with these companies. I mean, I'm doing the same thing you are, with our big client. So this is what needs to be done for these people to be happy, and happy people do happy work. They do good work, right?
They do good work. They do. And the thing is, I think it's important not to create a divisive situation where it's like senior leadership against employees. Like, it doesn't have to be that way. In my mind, we need each other, and we want to keep the shareholders happy. We want to keep making money. We want because without money, then you can't hire people. Without good hires, you're not going to make money. So I feel like we have an opportunity to value each other more, and for CEOs at some point to say, the company will continue to grow, but not at the what I'm trying to say, not sacrificing the people who are going to get us across the finish line ultimately.
The quality, yeah.
Exactly. Like, you're going to have I'm an investor. I invest in lots of companies. Or my financial planner invests for me. So I am a shareholder to some degree. Sure, I want my money to grow, but not at the expense of our world, not at the expense of the soul of people, not at the expense of the soil. And if you haven't seen Kiss the Ground, everybody, go do it, because a solution is at hand. there have to be enough people willing to take a stand and say, we're going to keep growing. We're just going to slow it down a little bit so that we can be a bit more responsible and make sure there's a world to live in. I mean, come on. If you chew up the world, it's just like, I always think that this idea of like, and forgive me because I don't want to get it too dark, but if you're in the business, if you're like Thanos, the nerds are loving me right now. If you're like Thanos and you're just like, well, we'll just get rid of the people, like the people are the problem. Like, then who are you going to rule?
Right. The robots, right? The
robots. And if you don't help people have money, they can't buy the crap
that you're making.
You can't sell your products and services. So anyway.
Don says, nice America first doesn't mean we don't work with others. Todd says, being a child of the 60s as well as the dirty South, finding one's inner self has been paramount in my experiences, whether good or bad, throughout my life.
That's it. Comment. Yeah. So I just want to foster more collaboration.
Yes.
And equity in business and get that culture. That's why I love this. The smaller businesses of like between 20 to 50 people that are ready to scale. I want to help them scale a culture that is going to be super invitational to diverse employees and at the decision-making level. And I should say, I got to tell you, Numi, here's the thing I love about Numi. So our CEO, he is this enormous, burly Mormon with full lamb chops.
Okay.
I've never met a Mormon like him. I've worked with Mormons in film and salt of the earth, by the way. And our COO is a Mormon adjacent. They grew up together. He's not really practicing anymore. Our CMO is an African-American man, also happens to be my ops manager. Our wellness officer, woman in her 50s. Education officer, woman in her 50s. All of our AI, Black woman. Marketing and event planning, both Black women. And by the way, I'm in a mastermind with women of color. And she goes, just call it Black women. Just call it Black women. I'm like, all right, done. You just tell me what to say. I want to represent you how you want to be represented.
You say it how I'm supposed to say it, right?
That's what they said, because they're like, Black women are not women of color. I'm like, preach, sister. Just tell me how you want me to say it.
Tell me how to do it. Yep.
Exactly. So that's what they told me to say. And they instructed that like Black women is the correct way to say it. So I'm just like, we are men, women, we are Baptists, we are Jewish adjacent, we are agnostics, we are Mormon, and we are all working towards a common goal. And I'm like, this is what all companies could have. And I know our decisions are going to be amazing because we all are coming from different places, and we all believe in something bigger than ourselves. We call it different things. We're calling, some calling it God. I call it universal consciousness, but we all believe in it. We are all surrendered to it as a group. And we have, I'm about to launch an initiative where we start our meetings, our board meetings, with an affirmation that we're all sharing to get the group mind focused on the mission. But we're also helping each one on their personal mission, because we want to support them in their dreams, even if it means they leave the company.
Absolutely. In fact, I'm with you so much.
We want them to outgrow the company, right?
We are. Hello from Spain. Hi, Luis.
Hey, criado.
Ian says, boardrooms should be on the floor, empowering those workers at the base of the business, transparent, inviting regular workers to express themselves and not be shot down.
I love it. And this is the thing that's so funny is, these organizations, this is great feedback. Everybody who's listening, thank you for your comments. And Annie, thank you for reading them. I agree with you. In fact, one of the courses in college, I have a degree in journalism, but a course I will never forget was my intra-organizational communication course. It was like a 100 level course. And they did a case study on Gore-Tex. And at the time, and this was back in the 80s, it was the CEO of Gore-Tex was agonizing out of how to position his desk, because he wanted people to feel welcomed when they came in, and he also wanted to make himself kind of vulnerable so that he wasn't putting himself above anybody. So should I have my back to them? Well, no, because that's kind of standoffish.
Rude,
he didn't want to be front facing. So I think he actually went with a side angle.
Wow.
Or put it but so much thought. So much thought went into the position of his desk and how it would psychologically affect his people.
And
I think that is Gore-Tex, you heard of them. They did okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
It all starts at the very top. And that's why I'm so, cool. Very cool, Jeff. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah.
Agreed. Phenomenal and revelatory discussion, ladies. The tide of standards is evolving in real time. Thank you for joining, Jeff. Good to see you. I haven't seen your name on here for a while.
I love to see white men, because here's the thing. There's this idea that like, oh, white men are the problem. Like, no. Greed is the problem. Greed is the problem. And there is a lack of education, I think, a lack of modeling.
Modeling is a great word
for men, because men are like, male policing is real. They will beat the shit out of you if they think you're going to step out of line. I've seen the humiliation. I've seen it in my male-dominated work history. I've seen the peer policing that goes on. So women, we're bitchy. We look at each other. The things we do, it's not nice. But men will literally beat the crap out of each other. They'll get over it sooner than we will.
Yes, they will get over it sooner. Todd says, no matter the brand that I'm building, I try to follow the words of the late Steve Jobs. We as leaders surround ourselves with smart people, not to tell them what to do, but to have them tell us what to do, and it works.
It does indeed. That's leading from within. That is a very distinct leadership style. It's funny because you can't have, back at you, Jeff, showing us what right looks like. You can't, this is the thing that I think companies are missing. And this is something people like me, and specifically I want to do, help them see. There's the gap. Like, one of their core values would be innovation. But then if you try to offer an idea.
You try to innovate.
They're like, that sounds dangerous. And
that's not how we do it here.
That's not how we do it here. I'm like, well, you can't have a culture of innovation.
Or value built on,
it has to be a culture of emotional safety. There has to be a value of safety and openness, because innovation is always scary. It's always unfamiliar. It always feels dicey.
Right.
That's
it's always
innovation's
feels
job.
risky. Yes.
But
if that's going to be a core value of yours, then stand in it. Stand in your truth, right? Don't just name that as a core value on your website, right?
Then you have to disseminate that core value by the policies and how people are conducting themselves. And it's up to the CEO and the senior leadership team to be very clear through various channels of communication of how they expect people to uphold these values. They're just like the mothers and fathers of the organization, especially if there's women in the C-suite, and they're running the show. They're running the show, and changes from the bottom up, they just don't work. They just don't work. I mean, and still them and
still them versus us in a lot of companies. Yeah.
100%, Graham. That's what I mean. Yeah, Annie and I are both actually working on it from our own little.
We are in our own ways. We are making an impact, Maura. We are.
No doubt.
So, how can people find you if they're like, man, I want to do I want her. What do they do?
Well, if you would like me to work in your business, we just need to have a conversation. I only have one slot left in my private coaching. And as I said, I only work with people who are going to be able to take it and really run with it. I want my time like you. I want people like Annie, male or female, I don't care, because I work with men and women. I work with men and women in tech particularly. So I have my current email address is Maura, M-A-U-R-A, at Soulful Leader, SOULFULEADER. So the L in soulful creates the L for leader. So it's only one L. And because I have to take so long to explain that, I'm about to rebrand. So you can find me there for like a second.
I put it on all the pages. So
thank you.
Find it. Sure.
Yeah. So, and the rebrand will be maurabarclay.com. It's not ready to launch just yet. But if you would like to go to my site and see some of my old coaching stuff, Impact Hell, you're crushing it. Yeah, Jeff, we are.
Jeff is a big supporter. We are.
Good. Well, it takes two. It takes everybody. This is the whole point. It takes everybody. Everybody's voice is important. Everybody's voice is important. And I just want to assure all of the white men in charge, you won't get kicked out You're not going to get replaced by people of color. We need you. We want you. You're included.
We need all of you.
We promise you won't get kicked out of your positions. You'll have plenty of power and money. We just want to create a little bit more inclusion for everybody else. Yes.
Well, it has been remarkable to catch up with you, even though I do want to catch up one off, but like remarkable to catch up with you live and find out what you're doing and hear everything and hear our similarities and just talk about how we met and everything. Was really cool. It was fun. Thank you for taking the time. I know you have to get your kid and everything, and it's like 3 hours earlier and all that stuff. So thank you for making the time. I know you have limited slots, so the fact that I was put into one is such an honor.
Well, I love you and I appreciate you.
Love you
and
too.
I mean, yours is a story that is unique and I love to tell.
Listen, anytime you want me to come on one of those Zoom calls you do with your masterminds and show off about Maura, I'm happy to. You know you can count on your girl.
I will, although it's probably going to be for businesses.
Pat said, my belief is building from inside first, then show your value by releasing outward, blessing others with what you have and know, and asking for help along the way, changing humanity around the globe. She's a wonderful, Pat is a wonderful person. She's very supportive.
And Pat, you've figured it out that the way that you change the globe is you start inside. Inner world has to go. So for anybody who wants to heal the world, I say, awesome. That's step 2. Step 1 is here.
If anybody remembers this little song that was on the radio a couple times, not sure if you heard it. It's called Man in the Mirror by this guy called Michael Jackson. I don't know.
I'll have to Google him.
Maybe Google that and see if you can see what that song says. And maybe he just had exactly what was needed. Yeah.
How do you spell that?
Jackson. Oh, you're welcome, Pat. Great to see everybody. Thank you for coming. I'm going to play the outro now, which is the same as the intro. So everybody hold on just a second. Maura, hang on for me, and good night. Peace. Thank you. Love.
Thanks, everybody.
Breath framework. B, begin where you are. R, reclaim your power. E, excavate your core values. A, allow, not control. T, through, not around. And H, healing. The breath framework, a way of life.